You are joining.
Welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money.
Your mindset and maximize your money. Hey, welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we are talking about a story that shook the internet. It broke a lot of hearts too, including mine, you guys. Mercedes Wells, a Black woman from Indiana, was in active labor when she went to the hospital for help. Instead of receiving care, she says she was brushed off and discharged. Minutes later, she ended up giving birth in her car on the side of the highway. This is not a one-off. Black women across the country have similar stories. They are not believed, they are not taken seriously, and sometimes their pain is ignored until it becomes life or death. We're going to talk about the truth behind Black maternal health, the bias in the medical system, and what every Black woman needs to know to protect herself during pregnancy and childbirth. Well, today I am your host, Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, your life and legacy planning strategist. And I am joined today by two beautiful queens on the royal court, Dr. Felice Hightower Britt, our Be Big coach. No, I got to say that right. Big coach. Hey, Dr. Felice. Hey, how you doing? And today, I don't know, look, she wears so many hats and so many names. I don't know who she's joining us as today. Is it Miss Black Hollywood today? How you repping today?
Yes, today I Miss
All righty. Well, ladies, I want to ask you, what was your first reaction when you heard about Mercedes giving birth in the car? Let's see, Dr. Felice, I think we're going to start with you.
So I'm really just hearing it from y'all, but I'm not shocked that we're hearing these types of stories. I was just telling Black Hollywood that I didn't have the similar story, but I know when I was and this was years ago when I had my child, literally they sent me back home, and I was in active labor, and in that part of my life, like I was struggling financially during that time of my life. And literally I was living with my baby daddy at the time, and we didn't have a phone. And so something told his mother to come back for me. Something told her to come back and get me. And when he came back and got me and took me back to the hospital, I was in active labor. And so, it's just amazing how, like, this isn't new. This story is not new. The medical industry, for whatever reason, does not listen to Black women. It's so bad that in Harvard, the Harvard Medical School, they are literally now incorporating and teaching their medical students how to have empathy for Black women in the medical field. It's ridiculous. So I'm not shocked, but it's very hurtful. It doesn't stop. The hurt when you hear these stories is really never ending, and it's really I'm quite fatigued by hearing these stories.
Miss Black Hollywood, I know that you're a mom as well. Can you relate? What was your thought when you first heard this? What was your first reaction?
I was heartbroken. I think about, so this month it's not necessarily, it wasn't pregnancy, but I did go to trial for a car accident that I was involved in. And when I went and I had neck surgery, I had to have my disc replaced and everything. And I went to trial just to get my medical bills covered by the person that hit me. And I wasn't believed. It was unbelievable that I
Mhm.
needed the surgery, that it was, that I wasn't faking or just there to, to get money or gain. I don't know if I would go through let somebody dig into my neck, mess around my vocal cords, even though it was like the doctor told me, like, it's a possibility that you might not be able to sing, especially if there's a complication. So we're going to move the vocal cords out of the way and then put a disc in there. And it was unfathomable. It was unfathomable to them that I could be hurt. So it kind of triggers, it's like what Dr. Felice said about just not believing Black women in general. But it
Mhm.
just feels like it's just this story again. We're so strong. It's impossible for us to be hurt. There's something. When we watch the video, you'll see this lady is obviously hurting, and the dismissiveness that was just unbelievable. It was really disrespectful.
Well, I want to ask a question, and I want to hear from those of you in the chat. I know we have some active viewers, many of you which are mothers as well. Um, in today's society, why is it that Black women still get dismissed in medical settings, even when it's clear? I mean, it's clear that they're in pain. Why do you think, Dr. Felice, that there's just this, without thought, you say we have to teach folks how to be empathetic for us and our pain? Why are we being dismissed? What are your thoughts?
So it's so layered, right?
Mhm.
First of all, the narrative that is out there when it comes to Black women, that we're they don't even look at us as real humans, because we're these superhuman beasts. I heard them describe Serena Williams as a beast. You know what I mean? So when you think of those words and the narratives that they've created around Black women, they don't look at us, and even our own don't look at us as real human beings who need to be rescued sometimes. That's not the picture that people have of us. And so we're always the givers, but never the takers. Nobody gives back to us. And then it comes from, I really do believe that the Black woman is secretly coveted. What does that mean? That all of humanity knows that life comes through the Black woman, and that it is literally, we are the most coveted woman on the planet because of our secret superpower, which is ingrained in our melanin, right? It is known. And so why would you purposely dismiss somebody that you didn't care about? Like, if we weren't such a force to be reckoned with, why the intentional invisibility? Why the intentional lack of acknowledgement? Why the intentional lack of empathy? Because you understand who we are and you don't want us to know it. And so it is a purposeful, strategic thing that people come against Black women. And so we have got to find ways to unite and come against this on so many different levels, that those are my reasons why I believe it happens.
Well, speaking of being dismissed, you guys, unfortunately, I too have a story to share. During my second pregnancy, both of my children were born preterm. My first child was 6 weeks early. My second child was 4 weeks early. Of course, having gone through, what is it? An ectopic pregnancy and toxemia, I knew the signs and symptoms with my second child. So I went into the hospital, went for a checkup. My doctor says, looks like we're getting ready to have a baby. I said, when? She says, today, now. Okay, so went through, the process, had the baby comes out healthy. But after giving birth, I could not walk. And I had a natural birth, you guys. I could not walk. I kept telling them something was wrong with me. Nobody listened to me. People kept telling me, oh, you just had a baby. I'm like, this is not my first pregnancy. I had a baby before, and I was able to get up and go walk and see my baby, and nobody listened to me. About the baby was born, let's say 5 o'clock that evening. The next morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I was laying there and it felt like my water was breaking. And it literally frightened me, you guys. I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? I called the nurse. The nurse came in. I had literally passed a blood clot that was as large as my baby. So just imagine if I had not passed that blood clot. So when you talk about being dismissed, this really hits home for me. I don't know about you, Miss Black Hollywood. I'm going to throw it to you. But as I say, this has been my lived experience, knowing that I was in pain, knowing that something was wrong with me, and just trying to convince other people that were the medical professionals that something was wrong. Nobody would listen to me. So in that instance, what do we do when nobody's listening? You're in pain, but nobody's listening. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you right after we come back from break.
Okay.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow.
Start here with a story out of Northwest Indiana. A mom says she was turned away from the hospital while she was in labor. This Indiana couple says this happened at a Crown Point hospital, and 8 minutes later, the mom gave birth in the family's truck on the side of the road. NBC5's Christian Farr spoke with the family today.
No empathy. She didn't show any care.
Mercedes Wells and her husband Leon say staff at Franciscan Health in Crown Point did not treat them fairly when Mercedes started to go into labor with their fourth child.
I told them I was 10 minutes apart with my contractions. By the time I got upstairs, it was about 8 minutes apart, my contractions.
Mercedes says she spent 6 hours in the hospital and was never seen by a doctor, only a nurse, who Mercedes says treated her like she was not in active labor.
Upon returning to the room, she's like, well, if you're not further along in your centimeters, then, we got to send you home.
This is a Franciscan Crown Point being put out in active labor.
Mercedes' mother captured the moment when the couple was asked to leave Franciscan, and that's when they started to head 20 minutes north to Community Hospital in Munster. But they say 8 minutes into the drive, Leon had to help his wife give birth to their daughter, Elena.
I started pushing, I kind of tugged and pulled a little bit, and baby came out, and just didn't know what to do. I just prayed.
In an emailed statement, Franciscan officials say, in part, we have launched an internal investigation into the alleged incident. Due to patient privacy laws and our own policies pertaining internal investigations, we are unable to comment further at this time.
Allegedly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you asked before, what was the question? What do we do?
Yeah, it seems that it's so easy for Black women to just be dismissed when we are in pain. And I guess I just wanted to know your thoughts on that. Why do you think it's so easy for others to look at us and dismiss our pain? And what do we do when we're crying out for help?
Well, I think we've definitely just we've proven that people look at us and they think that we are the strong Black woman. We have been deemed an archetype that if we can't live up to most times. We try to be that, but for the most part, we know we're forced to be that because we got to be that, and we embrace that. But um, it's the way other people look at us. But what we've had to do, I think, is advocate for ourselves. If you don't feel us, if you don't feel well, or if something keeps happening, as a matter of fact, Lauren's grandmother on her father's side was having heart, and this is just an example, was having chest pain for months,
Mhm.
months, months, going back to the cardiologist and saying, like, my chest hurts, running out of breath, running out of breath. This is something that we've been dealing with. Literally just dealt with chest pains, chest pains, chest pains. Doctor's like, I don't know. You're fine to me. I don't see anything. Fine to me. Right? Kept saying it. They kept going back to the doctor every time she would have a chest pain. Come to find out, took her to the emergency room. Finally, a competent doctor was like, I see blockage. We got to get you
Hmm.
8% blocked. Her arteries were 98% blocked. Like, I mean, she was gonna go at any time, and they wouldn't have been able to do anything because she was blocked. So they had to do an emergency bypass surgery, a triple bypass surgery, just all of that. So she's healing right now from that. But had they not kept going to the doctor and getting second and third and fourth and fifth opinions, who knows what, she wouldn't be here right now for sure. And so I just think that, like, looking around, we have to, unfortunately, they can look at their own and be like, oh, Beth, even if Beth is not, if
Mhm.
they can look at themselves and see themselves in them. But sometimes it's hard to relate, right? You see me, and you can't relate to that, or you don't see a human sometimes. And like Dr. Felice said, you see a beast, or you see whatever, somebody that
Okay.
can take it.
So let me jump in there because you just raised a point, and I want us to address that. And I'm going to start with you, Miss Black Hollywood, since you opened the door.
Mm,
So, do you think that Mercedes would have been treated differently if she were white?
yes, for sure.
Why? Why do you say
But
that?
I just think that, sometimes when you're looking at people, you relate to them based on your experience. And if it's not and I think sometimes that keeps us from being able to connect in a way. And especially with our history, I just think that's something that we're going to continue to, I mean, you can see it. Like,
Mhm.
literally, I mean, you sent me another video of another young lady, but just like the dismissiveness of the nurse. She was just clicking buttons. Literally, Mercedes was sitting there like, oh my God, like moaning and groaning. And they escorted this lady out with security. They didn't say that, but they escorted this lady out with security because they wouldn't leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Felice, I want to throw that over to you. And for those of you that are following us along in the chat, please, I want to know your thoughts on that too. Do you think if Mercedes had walked into that hospital in the form of a white woman in active labor, that she would have received a different type of reception? And if so, why?
You know, when I saw that video, I don't know, it did something to me. And I am extremely saddened right now by seeing that. But I'm so grateful to God that that baby is safe and sound. And
Mhm.
thank God for Jesus. But it's almost like, so think about it, like even with all the stuff that's going on right now with the border patrol and everything, when it is not you, people have a tendency to relate and connect to their own, especially in this country because it's so divisive. You go to other countries, people are just like Cuba, you just Cuban. Whether you white Cuban or black Cuban, you just Cuban, not Cuban. Here you have to identify with something or someone. And so because everybody's in their silos, they relate and connect with only that. And the narratives and the messages that are constantly programmed into our brains about others cause us not to see people as humans. There's really only one race, and that's the human race.
Right.
Not here. And because of the programming and the messaging that we're constantly bombarded with when it comes to divisiveness and not being unified, people don't see other. Like, so think about all the people who get snatched up off the street. Why isn't there an uproar around the whole nation around the lack of humanity? Because of the messaging and the programming that we have been fed, that we're disconnected. We don't feel the pain and the fear that other humans are experiencing right now. That a baby can't go to school because their parent might come to that school and that baby's not there. How do we not feel that as another human, regardless of where they are, where they come from, because of messaging and programming? And so we have got to decide to love humanity, period.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. That's interesting that you should say that, because, you know, I look at the response to from the hospital. Of course, as I understand it, the attending physician as well as the nurse were both dismissed. So the hospital is probably CYA trying to cover themselves. But that whole conversation around humanity, just basic humanity, it leads me to wonder what has happened. You guys, I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago, I shared that right here in Jackson, Mississippi, in downtown Jackson, Mississippi, in broad daylight, a lady laid in the middle of the street and gave birth. I mean, this is in 2005. Not in a third world country, here in the United States. People walked past her all day in active labor, stepped over her, and this child gave birth on the street. It leads us to wonder what has happened to our basic humanity. Where has it gone? Do we not see beyond this outside exterior? Can we not? It's like, Miss Black Hollywood, you made the comment that people assume that Black women can tolerate more pain. What are your thoughts? Where did that come from? Why is it that we can tolerate more pain? What are your thoughts? Why? Who said so?
White supremacy and slavery. That's what it said. That's what it was. I mean, unfortunately, it's like our history is tied so much to that trauma and that thing that our ancestors had to go through, that we still feel all of that. I mean, people could say, oh, slavery happened so long ago, let it go. But it didn't, because it shows up every single day. We see the remnants of it. We never got rid of the system of all of it. Dismantle the entire system and build it back up a different way. Get rid of the messaging. Sometimes when we're watching things or we're listening to things, we don't even know where they came from. And so they say that, like, oh, racism doesn't exist anymore, but the things, that the practices, the Constitution, when you look at certain laws, it's like those things were done, centuries ago, and we're still having to live under those types of laws. So aside from that, and I'm just going to add this, I think there's a bit of desensitization because of television. The things that we watch on TV. It started with them warming us up to seeing people be murdered in movies, people's being, certain things happening in movies, and us watching it for entertainment. That came over to the internet. Now we can watch video. People be like, did you see the video of blah, blah, blah being shot? Like, why would you want to see that?
Right.
Not only are people filming those things and watching people be killed and just filming instead of helping, there's really just been this switch that we just, because the news cycle happens so fast, because we're just used to seeing it, even though we can't sometimes differentiate between what's real and what's fake, because we see fake on TV, but we see real on the internet, but it all feels like, well, the news cycle will tell us somebody else died tomorrow. So I just think overall, you said something, Dr. Felice, about not being able to see humans. I mean, every time I see an illegal immigrant, according to ICE, be dragged in the street, the kids are yelling and screaming. The parents are saying, please, no, 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 don't take me, whatever. It's just a lot. It's heavy. And I think it's all heavy, Dr. Sabrina. It's just a lot. But I think we're so desensitized because it just is what it is.
Can I add to that too? And
Go ahead.
it's also the trauma that's been placed upon us was supposed to take us out. And so because it didn't, the narrative is that we're these superhuman beasts, because literally the atrocities that we have been able to survive by the grace of God, people are like, you got to be a beast in order to be able to live through those atrocities. Literally, so something must have happened in our DNA that I believe is God-given, that literally causes us to be able to snap back. Because how many you walking with me a little bit? Like literally, we still forge through.
Yeah.
That woman got turned away and is still alive today with the baby living.
Okay, well, hold that thought. I want to pause just right there. One moment, Miss Black Hollywood, and I know it's time to go to break. So my question is, this turned out with a happy ending. Mom has baby, daddy delivers it in the car, you know, everything turns out happy. What if that were not the case? It did not have a happy ending. Mom was turned away from the hospital in active labor, and they are on the side of the road, and baby doesn't survive, or mom doesn't survive. Then at that point, would our conversation be different today?
No.
I mean, when we talk
because
about,
I got videos of that too.
No.
I got videos of the women that didn't make. That's where we transitioning into, because it sent me down a rabbit hole of women that did not make it.
Well, because and you know, great question, but that is the outcome that is desired. The outcome desired is that she is on the side of the road and her and the baby don't make it. Unfortunately, that's the desired outcome. The fact that we survived it, that she survived it, right? Physically survived it. They're like, that's what adds to the narrative. See, they're superhuman. They're beasts. They're not real humans, because even through all of that, her and the baby's safe and good. But the trauma that woman,
right,
the mental trauma that she is going to have to fight through, possibly for the rest of her life.
And think about if that was her first child, if that was her the first time she ever experienced becoming a mother.
The invisible scar that they don't see. And so when you meet Black women, you meet the representative of the trauma that we have to fight through all the time. And 2 doctors in North Carolina, I forget their names, y'all, forgive me. They did a study on Black women, and they were like, what is it? Because when it comes to our miscarriages, they said there is no other no one goes through the racism and the discrimination that African American women go through. No other ethnicity goes through it. It is unique to us. And so it's a lot, y'all. It's just a lot.
It's a lot, right? It's a lot to take on. Yeah. It's heavy. It's heavy. Let's go to break, and then we can come back, and it's gonna get heavier. And I hate that. I hate to say that, but it definitely took me down a rabbit hole of just women that are no longer with us, and people just, whether it was a nurse or doctor, it was just blasé. I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. But we'll be right back.
I know. You're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us, so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming.
Black women are far more likely to die in pregnancy than white women.
And this big picture story today starts with the story of a young black woman from Brooklyn who died last week during childbirth. How it happened, why it happened, now raising questions and anger.
What if I told you a black mom died giving birth the day before July 4th and it could have been prevented? I'm Dr. Michael H. Ford, and this is a story you need to hear. Sha-Asia Washington was 26 years old, a paraprofessional, a daughter, a partner, and just days away from meeting her baby girl. On July 2nd, 2020, she went to Woodhull Medical Center in Brooklyn for a routine stress test. Her blood pressure was high, but that's not unusual during pregnancy. Doctors decided to induce labor using Pitocin. She was given an epidural, but the anesthesiologist inserted the catheter incorrectly. He also failed to wait long enough between the test dose and the full anesthetic. Then he gave her more medication, but didn't document it. Sha-Asia went into cardiac arrest. Doctors performed an emergency C-section. Her daughter Chloe survived, but after 45 minutes of CPR, Sha-Asia was pronounced dead. An investigation later revealed multiple medical errors. The anesthesiologist lied about the procedure and kept poor notes. He eventually lost his license, but no criminal charges were filed. No hospital system reforms were publicly announced. No one else was held accountable. Sha-Asia's death sparked protests and a renewed call for transparency in maternal care. A mural was painted in her honor, a memorial garden was planted, but her family is still grieving a loss that should have never happened. Black women in the U.S. are nearly 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women, even when education, income, and access are the same. Sha-Asia Washington was one of them, and the timing of her death, the day before America celebrated freedom, is a painful reminder. We cannot celebrate liberty while ignoring inequality. We can't claim justice while mothers are dying preventable deaths. Every voice, every story brings us closer to a future where black mothers are seen, heard, and protected, not remembered only after tragedy. Healing starts with knowing. Follow for more.
Wow. It's worse, worse, and it's getting worse, you guys. Not only did this happen in Indiana, but there was also a case this same past week as well out of Dallas, Texas, where something similar happened to a young lady. She went to the emergency room. Many of you probably saw it on social media. She is crying out in pain. And the lady that's doing the intake, I'm assuming it may be a nurse, is just casually sitting there, name, date of birth, due date, and as her mother is sitting there watching her child in labor suffering, she asked the question, do you treat everybody like this? Or is it just the Black patients that come in for care? Do you treat everybody like this? So, I'm thinking, I'm listening to this, and I'm just wondering, what can we do? Again, I asked that question earlier, Miss Black Hollywood, and I want to revisit that. Is there anything that we can do? Let's go back to Mercedes and her family. Was it something they could have done differently to get a different result? What can we do? Miss Black Hollywood, I throw it to you.
Yeah. What I noticed is that she went to the hospital and she didn't have a doctor. She didn't have an OBGYN. That's something I noticed when I went to get my doctor. I was looking for a Black doctor. That was just, and I didn't find one here in Los Angeles that was in the network and all of that. There just wasn't. But I found a person of color. And so every time, just somebody going on that journey with me. And when my blood pressure was high, when implantancia came and I was having all of these internal issues, there was somebody there to hold my hand. He was at when I got there the morning of, he was there. I mean, just always there. I was going, there was somewhere I had to go, and he walked me through the entire 9 months. And so I would just say that was my biggest concern. That wasn't her doctor, but had she had a relationship with a doctor, I just don't believe that she wouldn't have seen a doctor, and the nurse would have been her only opinion, because she was asking, as a matter of fact, go ahead.
No, I want to say, let me interject there, because that was my experience as well. When I went into labor, my doctor was not on duty. So the person that I had been seeing was not the person that delivered my child. So I can see times when that may happen. The person that has been your primary care provider may not be there at the time when you go into labor. Think about it. It's Thanksgiving holidays. Your provider could be off. Your baby doesn't know that it's Thanksgiving when they're ready to come. They just
we need a plan B. We
No?
need a plan B. Is there somebody
Okay.
else in the office? Is there somebody else in that, just depending, right? They were on their way to another community hospital. So that just tells me that maybe they did not have, and this is not, this is no judgment, because then we get into the whole conversation about money and healthcare and the expenses of that and how expensive it is. So there's a lot of I'm just thinking out loud, like maybe there are again, outside of just really having to advocate for yourself and understanding, are there doctors of color that can walk you through, that can create like a medical plan? If I'm on vacation, here's my partner, Dr. So and so, that can also see you during your pregnancy. I mean, you just gotta I think it's planning. What do you think, Dr. Felice?
So planning is really nice for people who have insurance.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of these women don't have insurance, so they can't really plan. And, it's Russian roulette. Whoever's on duty at that time that has no connection with these young women. What she possibly could have done was squatted. Don't leave. Like, y'all gonna have to arrest me, but I'm not leaving here until somebody sees me. And me and this baby gonna be right here on this floor. Y'all gonna deliver. She shouldn't have left. And then that way she could have held them accountable, and not like they would have had to arrest her to leave, because that was her right to stay at that hospital and get treated. So I wouldn't have left. I would have stayed right there. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna stay right here, and we're gonna have to prove to you that I'm having this baby. She should have squatted.
Well, and I think
can I ask you a question? Can I ask the both of you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I know in California, even if you don't have insurance, as soon as you are a mother, you automatically get put under like Medi-Cal. So you have insurance. Was that not available in New York or Mississippi, or was that not a thing? Did they not assign you?
So I know when I went to New York, I don't know why people leave New York, but New York got some good stuff. Because when I went to New York, like, you can get help. Like, the resources are really good to me. My experience in New York. Every state is not created equal.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And so on the states, before you move and want to have a family, you better make sure that whatever that state you're going to, what their resources are for all of these different things, because every state is different.
So I'm glad you asked that question, and I'm glad we're having this conversation, because I got to bring it back around to the doom. The reality is, right here in the state of Mississippi right now, we are currently under a state of emergency. Our chief medical healthcare professional in this state has placed us under a state of emergency because of the number and the rate at which babies are dying. Particularly Black babies are dying faster here than in some third world countries. Now, this is where I'm conflicted, Queens, and I need y'all to lean in and listen to me good on this part. It was just a few short years ago that this same state that I'm sitting in right now were able to legislate all the way to the Supreme Court to overturn Roe versus Wade, because we were pro-life. Okay? We cared about life. Now, how is it just a few short years later, you got a state of emergency because babies are dying? Make that make sense for me, because I'm conflicted down here. I'm really conflicted. The same folks now that were pro-life, and the last time I checked, these little babies is dying. They have lives, right? They're not in the womb anymore, but they have lives. But nobody is raising the alarm about the fact that these kids are dying at such a high rate. Infant mortality is off the chain. So what are your thoughts on that? How can we say that we are quote unquote pro-life, and then 2 years later, 3 years later, you got a state of emergency for, babies? Infant mortality rate is at an all-time high. Make it make sense for me, Queens. That's my question. I need somebody to make that make sense. I'm gonna start with the good old doctor. Come on, Dr. Felice.
if you make it make sense, then you've crossed over to the certifiable side. It's not supposed to make sense. And don't you force it. That don't make sense at all. And it is a travesty. And so y'all know that I'm a co-founder with a nonprofit called States of Wellness, Inc. And that is what we do. We go into the states and we try to solicit doctors to build teams of trust that will agree to see people and help them find these resources and be a resource for people of color so that they don't have to go through so many hoops as far as advocating for themselves. So that is what we do. We go in and we build teams of trust. We're like, hey, we're going to check your numbers. We're going to follow up with you, because we have a lot of Black and brown people who don't even trust medical professionals. You've got a lot of number of young women right now who are having high anxiety. They want families, but they're scared to have families, because in the greatest country on the planet, our medical is like a third world country, where all the money, capitalism, and technology that we have, Black and brown people are dying like in a third world country. And so you have people who have high anxiety that doesn't trust the medical professionals. So we are going to have to come together, y'all, seriously. And please look up States of Wellness, Inc. Help us out. Let us know of a state that you would like for us to come to, where we can build teams of trust, where we're saying, you know what, don't even worry about it. We're going to take care of our own. And that's what we're going to have to decide to do, to take care of our own. We teach people what questions to ask, how to advocate for yourself, and squat. You don't leave. I'm not leaving nowhere until you'll figure out how to make this make sense for me, because I'm not going. I'm not leaving. Literally, they like always telling you, go home. I'm not going home. I'm staying here. And so teaching people how to squat, how to advocate for yourself, and how we're going to have to take care of us.
It's Black Hollywood. Thank you, Dr. Felice. I'm going to throw that one to you. I'm curious about your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I love what you said, Dr. Felice, and kudos to you. Listen and reach out. In addition to that, I also provide another resource. So the other day, my good sister Constance Carter was having a show, and she was talking about healthcare. I received a notice saying that my premium is going to skyrocket. I don't know what that looks like in January, so I'm a little nervous. So she had a show, and she brought on a doctor from dpcalliance.org, which is direct primary care physicians, but they're Black. Everybody is Black. Direct primary care physicians. So basically, there's a network of Black doctors who have come together in an alliance that you can pay directly and have primary care for cheaper. So it's dpcalliance.org. So I would, and even I would love to connect you with them, that because I think that would be a great collaboration. But I think that's dope. I think here's the thing, y'all. There's research. We can do research. There are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Black people like Dr. Felice and this other doctor who are creating things that are there for us. It's really us getting off scrolling or whatever and really taking the time to research and look around and see what resources are available, because I believe that it's out there. I do. I believe that we are helping one another. We always say we got to unify, but I feel like since we're all so scattered and doing things to help the collective, we don't know. I don't know that y'all doing that over there. I don't know that you're doing over here. We don't know. There's no way for us to have our own little underground railroad, our own way to just speak to each other and use our own resources, because we don't know they exist. And so I just would say, look around, do your research. I think whatever you need exists. If you can't get Medi-Cal or Medicare or good healthcare, I would just go down the rabbit hole and start looking for something, or figuring out if I can go somewhere else, to another state. Can I deliver somewhere else? I don't know. Or can you apply for medical for something? I'm just throwing things out there, but my point is there has to be a way. I think if there's a will, there's always a way. So we just got to look around a little bit more.
Okay, Dr. Felice, before I transition, if you would please give the name of your agency, your entity again.
Let's put it in the chat.
It's States of Wellness, Inc.
States with an S.
Yes, States of Wellness, Inc. And our website is statesofwellness.org. Please go out. Please connect with us. Let us know about your state, like, because we want to come to the states. We want to get to all the 50 eventually, and build teams of trust where we can help people kind of learn how to advocate. And it's all about education, right? And about how do we reprogram our people how to be healthy. We have got to reprogram how to be healthy, because if we don't take care of ourselves, as you can see, what we're up against. And so there's just certain tools that we have to incorporate in order to be able to make sure that we're good and that we stay good. And so we're all in this together, and that is our goal. And thank you for asking.
Okay, Miss Black Hollywood, is it time for us to take another break?
Man, it's really almost time for us to get up out of here. I had like other videos to share and everything, but this has been so powerful.
Okay.
I would say let's do this. Let's play one more video.
Okay.
And then go to final thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so let me tell you a story that should make every single person watching this pause. Because this didn't have to happen. Meet Kira Johnson. She's 39, marathon runner, business owner, speaks 5 languages. She's glowing, she's thriving, she's married to Charles. They already have 1 little boy. In April 2016, they're getting ready to welcome their second son. So they head to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in LA, one of the most prestigious hospitals in the country for routine C-section. Let me say that again, routine C-section. Nothing about this should have ended the way it did. The surgery goes fine. Baby Langston is born healthy and bouncing. Charles is smiling. Kira is awake, alert, holding her baby. Everything looks perfect. Until it doesn't. Not long after, Charles notices something. There's blood in Kira's catheter. And not just a little bit. It's alarming. He tells the nurse. The nurse says, they'll check it out. An hour passes. Kira's still bleeding. Another hour. She's still bleeding. Charles goes to another nurse. Then a doctor. Then another nurse. He's literally begging. 2 hours. 3, 4. Kira's lying there, pale, shivering. She's bleeding internally. She's fading. And they're telling him she's just tired. It's normal. He asks for a CT scan. They say she has to wait 8 hours. By now, he's yelling, he's shaking, he's telling people, please do something. 10 hours later, they finally take her back to surgery. They find 3 liters of blood pooled in her abdomen. That's more than half the blood volume in the average adult. Kira Johnson dies on the operating table. This was 100% preventable. If anyone had acted, had listened, she would still be here today.
Wow. Our women and our babies are dying. We're dying at faster rates than everybody else. It makes me wonder, can a Black woman catch a break in any way, shape, form, or fashion? Can we catch a break? That being said, I know it's time for us to go to our final thoughts, and we see what's happening. And even with that, we know that there are a lot of young women that are hopeful that one day they will be mothers. So my question to you, my fellow panelists, both of which are mothers as I am, what should we be teaching our young women who may fear childbirth about how to navigate this process? What can we teach them? Let's see, Miss Black Hollywood, I think I'm going to start with you. What can we be teaching our young Black women who want to be mothers? I'm sure, like I was a young mother. I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. What can we teach them?
In terms of what we can teach them in terms of healthcare, I think in terms of having out of childbirth, having a child is a beautiful thing. It really is, and there's nothing like being a mother. But I think we have to just let them know the realities of what's happening in our country. I think that we have to really question what's coming. It makes me a little nervous when I think about some of the things I'm seeing in the news in terms of like, in terms of what's happening with the administration and how they're handling everything from our food to our healthcare to, all of the things. So it's going to be a different world for her. So just making sure that she is armed with information and understands that we live in a very different country, and there's part of me that wants to be abroad and have a dual citizenship by then, by the time she has a baby. So maybe that's an option, where they have health care, they have good health care, they take care of their women. I don't quite know what the answer is because I don't know what's coming, but all I can do is arm her with information and let her know that, in these situations, Kira, that like that none of them could see this coming. They didn't know. You can never, you just have to understand that like that was just Kira's time, unfortunately, because there's nothing you can do to really like have somebody accidentally put anesthesia in you the wrong way, and then you just can't really prepare for those things. But I guess the only thing I can tell Lauren is just to be alert and just to make sure that she can do everything that she can to make sure that she stays safe in that process. So, my name is Sierra Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, also known as Karma J. Just depends on the day. And yeah, I just want to say, there's no real. I have a show coming up on December 11th. That's coming up. We will be here in LA. So if you're in the area and want to come through, please come through. Right. So I got that. Wait. Oh, I got my right there. I'm gonna keep talking about it. And then otherwise, happy Thanksgiving. I'm so grateful for y'all that y'all coming. Y'all been with us for almost a year, and we just love and appreciate you so much for these conversations that we have. And I'm grateful for you, Queens. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thank you. Dr. Felice, I'm going to throw this one to you as well. I know you are a mother. You have a daughter. And based on this conversation that we've had today, and I know you said you had not seen the video prior to today's show, but my question to you is the same. What advice would you give a young mother about how to navigate this system, knowing what we know, knowing what we've seen, knowing what our lived reality has been?
So of course, the burden is so big and heavy on, Black women. We have to be educated. So even any goals that you have about starting a family, having children, you have to be an educated soon to be mother. So what does that mean? That means you have to do your research up front. You have to make sure, what are your options? What are your resources with insurance or without health insurance? What is available to you? You need to research that. Then find a good doula, like find an African-American doula that can be a part of your birthing journey. Find that. Find birthing centers. Like now, there are Black groups of people who are funding and creating birthing centers for us to go to. Find those. So education is going to be key, and making sure that you create those resources, you tap into those resources, and you create that community around you to safeguard you as much as possible before you enter into motherhood, or you're already there and you want more children and build your family. So that is going to be that's going to be our first thing that we need to start doing. Education is going to be big. And so I am Felice Hightower Britt, your b.big.coach on Instagram. Also, you have my Facebook page, Be Big Coach, and my website, www.thebebigcoach.com. I am available to you. I love y'all. Oh, Black Hollywood, thank you so much. I love you. Thank you for what you created this platform for us to come together and educate and love on one another. Thank you, Dr. Sabrina, for always showing up with your wisdom. I love you too. Like, I'm serious. Fly Nubian Money, the queens are off the chain. And I'm just so blessed to be a part of this platform with you. Thank you so much. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone if you do celebrate.
All right, so I guess it's my turn to give you my final thoughts on this. This has been a heavy one, you guys. It touches home, as I say. I can relate on so many levels. Having had this as my lived experience, the thing that I would tell a young mother is learn how to advocate for yourself. I remember what it felt like being in pain and trying to convince people that I was hurting and not having anyone listening, feeling like I was not being heard. But for the grace of God, that turned out positive, and I'm able to sit here with you today and share that experience. But my advice is to always, always advocate for yourself. Always. No one knows our pain levels. No one knows our level of tolerance for pain. No one else knows what it feels like. Just because they think that we should be able to bear a certain amount of pain does not make that our reality, or it should not make that our reality. So I am going to suggest that we always advocate for ourselves and our families. Mothers, if you're there, advocate for your daughters. Fathers, if you're there, husbands, if you're there, advocate for your daughters. Fathers, wives, husbands, advocate for your wives. Don't let yourself not be heard. What's the worst thing that could happen? I mean, they arrest you, take you to jail for advocating. And so what if it saves your wife's life and the life of your child? That being said, y'all know who I am. I am Dr. Sabrina Edmond Williams, educator, author, and investor, opening minds and closing contracts. I am so noted. And I am so very thankful, you guys. I am so thankful. I'm thankful to be here with these beautiful queens. I am thankful that this has been a great year, that God has allowed me an opportunity to share my knowledge, my talent, and the things that He has gifted me with His people. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for my health. I'm so grateful for my family. I am so grateful for the fly Nubian money. And you know what? Most of all, I'm grateful for each and every one of you who show up every day. Not some days, y'all show up every day to support us. I am so grateful, so very grateful. And I want to wish each and every one of you a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. Whether you celebrate or not, I don't care nothing about that. I'm still thankful for you, and I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day on tomorrow. That being said, at the end of the day, the story of Mercedes Wells is not just one about one woman giving birth in a car. That's not what it's about. It's about a system that continues to ignore Black women and put their lives at risk. Every mother deserves to be heard, respected, and cared for with urgency and compassion. Until that becomes the standard, we have to keep speaking up. We have to keep supporting each other and demanding better. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you to each of you for this important conversation. We love you. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you right back here on Friday. Miss Blackhorn?
I don't know. We have some queens traveling. So if we're not here on Friday, we'll be here next Monday. But I'm hoping we'll be here Friday, but we have some traveling queens. So I'm not sure yet. But if not, we'll see you next Monday and have a wonderful weekend.
All right. And one more comment before you go. Now, y'all know that Friday is known as Black Friday. If you're going to be out there in them streets shopping, support a Black business. Make it a true Black Friday. I'll give you that one for free.
Oh, I love that.